Hello, this is my first attempt at making a vlog. I've seen a lot of people do vlogs and they talk about, I don't know, random things or news or whatever. So I decided to talk about my life and things. I wanted to talk about one time when I had a fight in a mail office when I was working there. I am not the type to instigate these things and I do not enjoy doing it. A lot of my friends think I do, so I wanted to fully explain in detail what happened that day. So I started working there that was from a year ago, and it was like a 2-week test to see how good you are, and after that 1 week you actually started working and then they give you a contract, which I wanted because after that I could take a loan at the bank and start living on my own, like rent a house and progress further in my life. What happened with me is I already started 2 weeks of work, going around putting letters in. Instead of the third week, they sent me back to a school, a actual school, and then my education started. 2 weeks later, after it was very easy. I was almost like one of the top guys, and then I started working again. After that, they did not decide to give me a contract, so I just kept working on, and maybe like more 2 weeks later, I asked why I wasn't been given a contract, and they said that apparently they were afraid that once I had the contract, that I would go away, which is not a reason at all. So then it was made clear that obviously they just wanted to keep me there to like work and not give me like anything stable for long term. After that I started losing motivation and I didn't really want to go work there anymore. So like I came late one day, then a second day, and after that they started to use that as an argument to not give me the job. So like 2 months go by and I am doing great. Like you have a amount of work you have to do, and after that's done you can go home. So like if you finish in like 5 hours or 11 hours, whatever, you get the same amount of money. I was very fast later on and did the work in like 5 hours, and I got paid for a whole day. Plus I got a bonus for driving with a car. So that job was one of the best ones I had at all, and I have done 14 jobs last year. But what happened after on the third or fourth month is I got redirected to a different city, closer to my home actually, but there was a lot of work there, and the day when I arrived there, they had already packed like a full day of letters from the day before that they didn't do. So it was my responsibility to deliver those. It's a bigger city where I got to, and they had way more work there. The amount of work there was from the day before was undoable for me alone. And they started to complain about that. Then I met the head chef from that office, and I told him my situation, everything from the start. Fully told my situation personally at home and all. And he seemed to have understood it, but like a day later, he was already like complaining about me working too slow or my routes not being finished. I explained to him why that was. I got like one last chance to prove myself by doing one route with a car again, which I am good at. So I had confidence that this would, like, from this point on, everything would be better. So what was supposed to happen is 3 days I was supposed to get educated on the route. On the second day I was doing it on my own, get a little bit of help, and on the third day they started to do a strike. So when no one works and they complain about this and that. So the third day was on a strike and I wasn't allowed to join them. I wasn't allowed to work and I wasn't allowed to go home. But for some reason back then I just did anything my superiors told me, so I just stayed there and I spent a whole day doing nothing. But now the big thing is the work from that day was saved, and I already knew that this, what is piling up right now, I was supposed to do tomorrow, and I wouldn't be able to do it alone. That's for sure. So the second day I arrived there, the guy that was supposed to be educating me on the route was already gone, and I was listening also to my earphones to music just to help me like relax. But then like this woman from the secretary came along, and she was like already started to like complaining about something, whatever, I don't know. And then she started talking about my music, that I wasn't allowed to listen to it because it's bad for me, which I can decide for my own, thank you, but still. Then she started calling for the head chef, that exact guy who I talked to before. And when he arrived, she was like, he is ignoring me, he is being rude. And without even asking for what was going on, he immediately said that this is the last week I am working and the next week I am out. So as I heard this, as I was just putting away the letters as fast as I could to be able to start faster and finish my job, as I was doing it and as he was saying, I was like, that's the moment when I really became pissed. And just to finish it off, he also said, you aren't getting a contract, just because that's exactly what I wanted. So him saying that was like the final point to everything that was boiling up from 3 months before. So what happened is I threw away the papers that I held in my hand at his face. I started to beat him up, punch him. Then that exact woman that was calling him came along, and this is not something I am proud of. Actually, I regret it, but I also hit her. And right now, like a month ago, like a court thing happened, and I explicitly only apologized to her because... But anyway, I started to fight with this head chef. Then other people, employees, came along, started defending him. But they started using themselves as like a shield, body shield, and I started hitting them. They started reacting, they started hitting me, and basically it was like a big fight breaking out in the post office. And I was like, I hit one guy to the ground, then I was fighting off other guys. But it all ended when there was like this very, very big guy, like a security guard or something. When he came along, he grabbed me. That's when I just tapped him and I said that, okay, that's enough, I'm done. I just told him to get me my coat, and I just, without anything, went back home into my car. Obviously, I was very, very disappointed at the whole day. I didn't want that to happen. I just went home. I sat there for an hour, like thinking about everything, then just ate a little bit. Then the police came along. I just told them the story of what happened. After that, I didn't hear anything. A week goes by and I revisited my boss from the other job I had before in the kitchen. And as I was sitting in a restaurant eating with my former boss, he asked me, he asked me, did you perhaps fight last week in the post office? And I was like, yes. And after that, he didn't say anything. He was just smiling. He took out his phone. He started listening. And then he showed me a newspaper article about some crazy Russian ex-boxer maniac going berserk or going into a frenzy or whatever and beating up 7 people into the hospital, then running from the police for a whole day long. I was like reading this and immediately I started laughing just like my boss. Like the amount of bullshit they put into that article was absurd. Like they just portrayed me as like a... I don't know what the fuck. Reading the comments on the article, a lot of people were actually pro my side. They were actually defending me, that a lot of disrespect goes towards the employees and they aren't being paid enough. There is way too much work, to which I agree. And people there who work as or as mailmen do deserve a lot of respect, but it's because it's a hard and tough work. And just wanted to say that, like, no, I have no hate at all towards the employees there. Those people are hardworking people, but the higher ups or whoever, the ones who are in charge, they are they should be replaced, because if 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 decent people would get their position, that would totally change everything. Now, after all of that, I had to go to court and had to talk to a lot of police, psychologists who were asking me about what was going through my mind, what I was thinking, how could I do something like that, like I am the evil guy and all of that, you know. But I explained them the whole situation. After that, none of them, like, basically I've told this story a lot of times before, and after that no one can even say that I was wrong in my part. But that doesn't matter, because it already happened, and the problem is still there. Talking to me, I am not going to go there and like tell this guy to like get a new job, because I don't have this authority, I don't have this power, I cannot do anything. So I'm just repeating the same story. But just to wrap up this video, this is also a very big topic about like fighting and aggression that I'm now being taught about what not to do and what to do. Basically, never fight in your life. Basically, never use aggression, because it's a bad thing. Either way, I do not believe in that. I think like using it in the right moments to do the right thing or making the right point, it's always a good thing. Because the same like with animals, when you have to educate them, like not to break your furniture or not to go somewhere or whatever, you don't tell them because they do not understand this language. You have to do it in a different way. The same with these type of people. I am not disrespecting them. I do not want to insult them or saying that they are not human, but I would like to have some opinions.